The 1991 dissolution of the Soviet Union. On a cold December day in 1991, the world watched a moment unfold that would reshape global history. The once mighty Soviet Union, the vast superpower that had dominated world affairs for nearly 7 decades, was approaching its final breath. What began as a political experiment in 1917 was now coming to an end, not with a bang, but with a quiet signature in Moscow, Russia, on December 26, 1991. To understand the weight of that day, we must step back into the fading twilight of the USSR. The late 1980s had brought winds of change, economic stagnation, political frustration, and a growing desire for freedom were spreading across its republics. Mikhail Gorbachev, the last leader of the Soviet Union, had introduced sweeping reforms, perestroika to restructure the economy, and glasnost to open the society to discussion and transparency. But instead of strengthening the Union, these reforms revealed cracks that ran deep beneath its surface. Republics like Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia began pushing for independence. Others quietly questioned their place within the Union. Nationalism surged, and long-suppressed voices rose with new courage. What had once been tightly controlled was now unraveling, thread by thread. Then came the August coup of 1991, a desperate attempt by hardline communists to reverse reforms and halt the collapse. Tanks rolled into Moscow. Gorbachev was detained. For a moment, the world held its breath. But it was a moment that would define what came next. The coup failed, and instead of restoring Soviet power, it accelerated its demise. The republics, once hesitant, now sprinted toward independence. By December, the inevitable could no longer be delayed. Leaders from Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus gathered secretly in a forest retreat and signed the Belovezh Accords, declaring that the Soviet Union no longer existed. One by one, the remaining republics joined them. And so, on December 26, 1991, the USSR was formally dissolved. The red flag, hammer and sickle emblazoned in gold, was lowered from above the Kremlin for the last time. In its place rose the tricolor of the Russian Federation. A single moment, both quiet and monumental, marked the end of an era. For millions, the dissolution meant newfound independence, hope, and possibility. For others, it ushered in uncertainty, economic hardship, and a world suddenly transformed. But no matter how one viewed it, the event reshaped the global order, ending the Cold War and redrawing the world's political map. History rarely ends neatly. It fades, shifts, and fractures. And on that winter day in Moscow, the story of the Soviet Union reached its final chapter, forever changing the course of nations. Help the channel by like, share, subscribe.